Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I'm so glad you're here today. It's good to see you all. I have to tell you, I'm going to confess something. I am the queen of one more thing. I am the queen of one more thing. I have to tell you, 12 minutes ago, my hair was wet. And 14 minutes ago, I had on a t-shirt that said Claiborne Farms, which is the barn where Secretariat retired in Kentucky from a trip we went on like 6 years ago. And I am just the queen of one more thing. And I don't have earrings on because I didn't get to that. But I think that that's probably the least important part about today for all of us. So come on in and tell me where you're coming in from. Today is the fifth day of our VA Client Kickstart Challenge, and I'm really excited to be with you today. But before we dive into our training, we're going to do some mindset chicken chatter work, right? And let me ask you this before we jump in. And we've had some glitchy things, and I've been working with StreamYard to fix them. Can you guys see my slides? And am I blurry? Let me know if I'm blurry, because they told me that it might be that I have to close all my tabs, and that is stressful. That's stressful. So hello. Good slides and video. All right, great. Okay, so I adapted what I was doing. I did something different. I took my notes and I put them in Word. I closed all of my Google tabs, and I'm streaming not on Chrome but on another browser. So that all occurred to me about 3 minutes ago. I needed to do that. So crazy. Yeah, not blurred over here. Good. New Zealand, not blurry. Okay, so I think that I'm gonna have to come clean. I generally, when I went to close my tabs, I closed Chrome using Task Manager because that would be the cleanest way. And I believe it said that I had 56 tabs open, and that's a lot of tabs. I don't recommend doing that. But that is a weakness in my life that StreamYard has has caused me to have to fly right. But I was saying a minute ago, I don't know about you guys. I'd love to hear if you do this too. I am the queen of one more thing. So 12 minutes ago, I looked at my watch. I was like, okay, I have 12 minutes. My hair was wet, and I didn't have any makeup on, and I hadn't quite figured out the whole close my tab thing. But here I am. Here I am. And I wonder if you do that too. Greg laughs at me. We'll be leaving the house, and he just puts on his shoes and he sits down. Because I have all these one more thing. And then he looks at me, he says, do you need to go to the bathroom? I'm like, oh yeah. So, he's got my number. He totally has my number. All right, good. All right, so before we dive into the training today, we have our mindset chicken chatter session, and I want to dive into this. Today we're going to have I don't usually use the word epic, but this is pretty epic. We're going to have an epic Q&A session. We're going to talk all about VA school. We're going to have open Q&A again, and that's all going to be getting started at noon Eastern, so in just about an hour. So today I want to talk about consistency. Right? Consistency is a core value of every successful business. Every successful business. Consistency is really what sets people apart, right? It sets people apart. And I'm sure you've seen this in your life, right? People who keep showing up versus people who are really kind of addicted, I guess is the word, to shiny object syndrome, And I want to applaud those of you who are here, because this is day 5, right? Day 5. And some of you might have lost interest. Some of you might think that they're not getting value, or whatever it is. Or you just went on to the next thing, but you guys didn't do that, right? You didn't do that. And so I appreciate that. So I want you to give yourself a pat on the back, because it's not easy to show up live, right? I want to see what you guys are saying in the comments. I am like you, and we'll do one more thing. And like Greg, we go out. I just put on my shoes and I wait. Oh, you're okay. So you wait for your spouse who takes their time and starts getting ready 2 minutes before it's time. Right. Okay. So you guys can read it in the comments. Basically, one of our viewers is married to someone like me. So they just put their shoes on. Yeah. I do. I don't wait till the last minute to start getting ready, but I just keep thinking, well, I have to do this and that person's waiting for me. And so that's what I do. That's what I do. All right, good. All right. So let's just tell the truth here. Okay. Consistency is hard, right? It takes practice, and 100%, it's the thing that is going to make you successful, right? It's the thing that's going to make you successful. Now, when I started my business, I got my first client at the school bus stop, right? I got the second client in the wedding buffet line, which was great. But those two clients were not enough to care for my needs and my daughter, right? There was a lot more work to do. And because, making $1,000 a month is nice, right? But it wouldn't pay the rent where I lived. I lived in Boston, right? And I needed to be sure that if one of those clients didn't need me, that I would still have enough work. So what I started to do was really one of the things I like to do is I call it reverse engineering. I like to look at other people who are successful and think, how did they do that? Like, how did they do that? So I started studying this. How do people get clients? And I read books and I really leaned into it because it was either that or get a job, right? I mean, that's what it came down to. And so I started to create a method for myself, the same method that I teach you this week, and I turned it into a system. Systems are easy for me to follow, right? It's like a set of directions, and I need that because, that's the core of what makes my consistency possible. Now, I call this system sprinkling, right? So sprinkling, right? If you think about it like this, I'm sprinkling. And it sounds so much better than marketing, right? It sounds so much better. And it's actually more accurate because the thing is that in order for everyone to tell everyone about your business, you're going to have to think about yourself as like confetti, right? And sprinkling confetti can be fun, right? So it's an interesting mindset right there, to think about confetti versus bothering people. Like, think of yourself throwing little pieces of pink and yellow paper all over the place, right? And because of the system that I've developed, people have said to me, it looks like you're everywhere. And I am, but because I have a system, I'm not sitting here thinking, okay, what should I do next? Okay, I'll do that. And then I'll do that. I decided, and I grew my sprinkling system one step at a time. I built the muscle, and then I added something else, and I built the muscle, and I added something else. And I just kept doing this until I had a system that was consistently generating six figures. Okay. Now, some of my students will say, Catherine says sprinkling confetti or rice is illegal where I live. Yes, this is virtual confetti, right? This is definitely virtual confetti. We're not looking to hurt the birds for sure, because I know about that, right? So some of my students will say, I told 10 people and nothing happened, right? I told 10 people. Some will say, I posted about my new business on social media and nothing happened. Others will say, I sent out my announcement, I still don't have a client. And here's the thing, I know that's what happens, right? That happens. And some of you might have a different result, but it's temporary. It's temporary because, and here's the thing, when that happens, whether you get people like, yay, or it's a little bit feels like crickets, like maybe one or two people acknowledge it, but it's not like this big flow of, this big flood that you're expecting. What you do next determines your success or your failure, right? Do you quit? Do you say this is never going to work and get back to your couch, or do you lean in and say, I want this, right? What else can I do? What can I do differently to get the results I want? Okay. And one of them is to be consistent. And I'm going to say this again, be consistent. It is such a core value of being successful. Now, I have struggled with consistency most of my life. It's not easy to be consistent. I'm not perfect, but I am a million, billion times better than I was for most of my life. I didn't think it was that important, and it comes back to that whole idea of keeping our word to ourselves, because what was stopping me from being consistent was that I didn't believe that what I was doing was important enough. Right. I just thought, well, yeah, I want that, but right. Yeah, but's a big one. Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to work. And this might be a waste of time. And why am I even trying? This is ridiculous. I don't have what it takes. And when we start to keep our word to ourselves, those voices quiet down, because we say, okay, I tried this and I kept my word to myself. And even if you don't get the result that you want, at least you're starting to build that muscle of confidence, right? Because that's what it really takes to quiet the whole imposter syndrome and overthinking that we all have, right? So some of you might feel that it's just too much. It's just too much. And it's difficult to be consistent because there are so many things and it's impossible. And then here's the other thing. A lot of us struggle, and I know I do, with perfectionism. I give myself a talking to sometimes before I even start something like, this is never going to be good enough. What are you doing? And we talked yesterday in our mindset session how to soothe ourselves. So if you missed that session, check it out. It's in Facebook and it's going to be added to the replay page today. Okay. The VA Challenge. What is it? VAChallengeReplay.com. It's going to be added today. So here's the thing. Being consistent, if you want to be consistent, you have to focus on the things that are going to make the biggest impact and move the needle. Right. And the reason we feel overwhelmed is because we're worrying about so many things when there's really only a few things that are going to be important. Okay. Now, we have to put everything else on hold. This is not easy. It's not easy, but we have to do it. We have to put things on hold. Table setting activities, right? Like researching the best CRM for virtual assistants. What's the best website platform? How do I blah, 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 right? We're all in this like what if stuff of the future, and you have to put that on hold. You're going to have time to solve those things one at a time. And if you jump into VA school, I'm going to be right there sitting with you, okay? When you have that question, we'll figure it out. But in order for you to be successful, you have to narrow down what your activities are. Now, doing these things like choosing a CRM, it might make you feel like you're starting a business, right? It might feel like, oh, I have a business and I need to do these things because I want to be prepared. But the thing is that while it might make you feel like you're being productive, it's not going to move the needle, right? It's not going to move the needle. So I'm going to tell you right now what your top three priorities should be. All right, ready? Get all your contacts together. Tell people you know about your business in a clear, simple way. Repeat. Okay. That's what's going to move the needle. All right. And you might be thinking, this is easy for you to say, but I'm not like you, right? I'm probably a lot more like you than you think. It's like I started in a completely different place from where I was now, right? A completely different place. I had no contacts. I had no connections on LinkedIn. I probably was connected to like 5 people. Right. I knew nothing about marketing, which I thought I had to do. And I didn't want to market. I didn't want to feel icky. I just wanted to help people. Right. I just wanted to do the work. The problem is the work doesn't come to you unless people know what you're doing. Right. That's kind of the catch-22. I would be happy to sit at my desk all day long and have people pour work all over me. But there's a step that has to happen first. OK, so I looked for things and ways that I could tell people about my business that didn't feel icky. And I was consistent about it. All right. So being consistent is going to separate you from the pack. It's going to give you an advantage because people will notice. They will notice. Now, consistency doesn't come naturally. You have to create it. And when I got serious about creating my business and being self-reliant, I started to pay attention to how I was spending my time. That was a big deal. I started blocking off time to work on my business. I got help from a mentor so that I could stop overthinking and know that what I was working on was going to move the needle. And she strongly encouraged me to stop working on the things that could wait. My calendar became my guide, and I tackled one part of my business at a time and stayed focused. And everything I need to do is on my calendar, and I assign myself due dates because otherwise it's not going to get done. And you need to be realistic. So when I wake up every morning, I look at my calendar and I know what I'm going to be doing because I've thought about it ahead of time and I've prioritized what's important. So instead of spending the day wondering what the best project management software is, I want you to think about how you can tell people about your business. Okay. What little step can you take, even if it feels risky and vulnerable? What could connecting with someone, who could you connect with on LinkedIn? I got my first client by connecting with them on LinkedIn. And the thing is that it felt selfish and self-serving. I have no idea why. That's the most ridiculous thing looking back. But I felt like he thought I was going to want something, right? But let me tell you what happened instead. Instead, he was able to start a whole new business, right? He wanted to teach, in addition to his regular business, he wanted to teach people how to run their businesses, and he wanted to sell webinars. And this was his wish, and my desire to help him resulted in tens and tens of thousands of dollars for him for years, and thousands of hours of work for me. So I thought, okay, this is something to do. So I started to consistently connect with everyone I knew on LinkedIn and everyone I met going forward. And that has really paid off. So think about what else you could do, right? What else you could do? How can you consistently stay in front of people, that will tell others about you? Okay. Now we talked about, was it yesterday? No, it was the day before. On Wednesday, we talked about sending 2 emails a day, getting back in touch with people you haven't talked to for a long time. Okay. And again, if it feels self-serving or selfish, I want you to know that it's going to actually bring delight, right, to the people that you contact. Now, I know we're going over, but this is important, so I want to tell you this, okay? All right. So I was listening to a podcast last night that was talking about how stuck a lot of us feel. It was talking about how a lot of us never really recovered from the last 3 years. And we stopped leaving our houses. We stopped communicating with people. We've given up, and we don't know what to do to feel better, right? And I'll tell you what, I want to tell you, if that's you, this is what you need to do. You need to get into action. You need to move. You need to DSD. You need to do this now, and I can help you. All right. And, and I feel strongly about this, and this might feel a little preachy, and that's not my intention, but, I want this for you. I want you to be able to take this to the next level, because you wouldn't be hanging out with me here 5 days later if you didn't, right? So if you want to be a virtual assistant and have a steady stream of income coming into your life, I can help you. You can work from home and be successful. You can work from home and make money, but you have to get up and move, okay? There's never a good time to start a business. It's not convenient. It's not easy. And it requires us to stretch ourselves. I'm going to tell you the truth, right? I have struggled with so many things in my life, right? I struggled with finishing college. I struggled with getting pregnant, and the list goes on, right? But things started to change for me when I stopped letting myself off the hook. When I decided I wanted what I wanted in my life, and I stopped listening and getting distracted by all the noise. There's so much noise out there. So many people are experts. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to find someone that you not only resonate with, but who has created what you want. Find that, lean in, and get busy. You guys can do that. Okay, you can do this. Now, I am going to see you in about 40 minutes right here. Okay, so come on in. We're going to have an epic Q&A. It's going to be a lot of fun. Think about what questions you have that I can answer, because I really want you to get your answers today. Okay, good. And then after that, we're going to have, doors are going to be open for VA School for a while, and we're going to have a bunch of bonus sessions that I'm really excited about. And Mandy is going to be adding all of those events to our challenge Facebook group. If she hasn't done it already, she's probably on her way. Okay, so check those out. You'll be getting some emails about them. We're just going to keep this party going for a while. All right, good. I'll see you soon. Bye.